MMA Boxing Talk here. I just wanted to put out a quick video talking about, of course, Mayweather, McGregor, and just a little bit of pay-per-view stats, just to kind of put things into perspective. Of course, this doesn't really have anything to do with the actual fight. This is just stats and for the fans. It's fun to kind of go through this stuff sometimes. But obviously Floyd is the biggest cash cow in boxing history, and Conor is the biggest cash cow in the history of the UFC and in MMA. So both guys, when I say cash cow, I mean the pay per view sales. They're number one. And of course, Floyd's been doing this for a very very long time, and it took Floyd many years before he became a pay per view star. It wasn't until he beat Oscar De La Hoya where he really took over, kind of. And that was in 2007. I believe he debuted in '96. So it took him, it took him 11 years to become a pay per view star. That's definitely not the case for Conor McGregor. And of course, Conor McGregor's at a disadvantage when you compare um, pay per view numbers because Floyd's just been doing it for so much longer. He's been headlining and being very successful in pay per views for 10 years now. Conor 4 years ago was not even in the UFC. He was collecting his last welfare check. So um, obviously Conor has exploded much quicker than Floyd Mayweather. So that's kind of something interesting, and hats off to Conor because it's not something that's easy to do. But now, because Conor's been doing this for only so long and Floyd's been doing this forever, I just kind of took both of their last four fights. So Floyd fought Berto, then Manny, Maidana. Conor McGregor fought Alvarez, Diaz again, and then Aldo in both of their last four fights. And, when you add up the pay per view, those four pay per views for Floyd adds up to 6.8 million pay per view buys, and Conor's four last fights, add up to 5.8. So Conor, a million pay per view buys short. Now, of course, the reason Floyd is more is only because of the Manny Pacquiao fight. Even against Canelo, it didn't even do half of what the Pacquiao fight did. So, and Floyd needed that legend of the sport, and needed to duck him for 6 years before finally fighting him to get that crazy payday. I mean, 4.6 million pay per view buys is insane, and I actually think this fight has a good chance of beating that. I just do. If not, it'll definitely do 4 million pay per view buys Mayweather McGregor. That's what I think. But what's interesting though is in those four fights, only one of the fights Floyd actually sold more pay per views than Conor. In the Berto fight, he only did 400,000. Pretty, not very impressive. Conor's last fight sold 1.3 million pay per view buys. Obviously, the Manny fight blows any of Conor's fights out of the water. Maidana, both the Maidana fights were 925,000 pay per view sales and 900,000 pay per view sales. When you look at Conor's, his fight against Diaz did 1.5 million. Fight against Aldo did 1.4 million. And you can say, well, nobody knows who Maidana is, whatever. Well, Jose Aldo had only sold, I think, 330,000 pay per view sales. That was his best number. And that was fighting Frankie Edgar, who was a former champion. So that was kind of like a super fight. And that did 300,000 sales. So that was Aldo's best pay per view. And then when he fought Conor, did 1.4. Conor is the draw. And what this video is about is just basically saying that Conor is the bigger draw right now. Floyd might have done more in the past, but right now, as we speak, Conor is the bigger draw. He can fight nobodies and still sell over a million pay per view buys. Floyd clearly can't do that. Look at his last fight against Berto; it only did 400,000, and his both fights with Maidana, who obviously hardcore people that are around the sport know who they are, but the casual fans aren't really familiar with these guys. So Conor is, he's definitely the draw, the bigger draw in this fight. Floyd's, pretty damn close, but Conor's just way more entertaining. His fights are more entertaining. That's the reason. But that really has nothing to do with the fight. So, but I just wanted to put it out there. It was kind of interesting. I thought anyway. But you know, enjoy the first pay per view tonight, or sorry, the first press conference tonight. That should be very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. It's gonna be interesting. Conor, bring up the whole IRS shit, and yeah, because I really wasn't sure where he was gonna go with this, but it'll be curious to see what Conor says about that, about the IRS, and so. That's it for this one. If you like the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMABoxingTalk1. Peace.